Hello, hello, hello. This is HQ, and HQ is in the house. We are here for the Letters to the Marriage series, right? The Letters to the Marriage. And I got to thinking about marriage, got to thinking about, being introduced and what my feelings were before I got married, my feelings were for the marriage. How would we feel about marriage, etc., 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 right? And how marriage has changed over the years, how it has changed, right? And so I was thinking, how has marriage changed for women over the past, just say 40, 60, 50 years, right? And it's changed a lot for women. Uh, with it being a combination of social, economic, and cultural shifts that people, experience, right? And I just broke it down to a couple reasons as to why I thought women marriage changed for women. For one, I believe women became more independent and our options became more available to us. Like in the past, many women relied on being married for financial stability, you know. But today, a lot of women have careers, college degrees, choices, and money of their own. And that changes the reason for getting married from 1960s to now. It's less about survival or security right now, and many more women are choosing to have true partnership, and women are choosing to marry later or not at all, which is wasn't true in the 1960s. Because they're not dependent on a husband to live or to survive. And another reason why is the expectations of marriage have changed. Like 60 years ago, 30 years ago, traditional gender roles were more accepted, right? The man worked, the woman stayed home, took care of the kids, blah, blah, blah. Now women want a more equal relationship, more equality, shared chores, emotional labor, mutual respect, that kind of thing. If a marriage doesn't offer these things for a woman, women are more than likely not to enter into being married because we have that choice now, right? Divorce has also become more socially acceptable. So that's why I always say men have to convince women to come back to the table. Men have to do all of these things or more things for a woman to come to the table. It's true. Marriage has always been to the benefit of men. It's always been to the benefit of men. Women don't get a benefit. Women make their own money. They don't necessarily need a man's money. And that's what most people say. Oh, well, she want my money. She want to benefit from my money. These days, she doesn't need your money. She doesn't need to have. Uh, she doesn't need to have kids. She to be married. So it's a game that men have to convince women to actually come to the table. And in order to convince women to come to the table, men have to do more than what they did traditionally, right? And the last I'd say, or one of the first, these top three, society and the culture are evolving, ever evolving, right? Okay. And it's evolved. Pop culture, education, social media, all that has changed how people view love and commitment and gender roles, right? We're taught these days to prioritize, our personal growth, which we have to do, our mental health, which we are we should be programmed to do, and our self-worth, which is something you should do before anything else. I mean, a marriage is no longer seen as a thing that must be done. It's an option among many of women, and not the only path to happiness and fulfillment that it used to be, right? So if you make a comparison between now and say 1960, then 30, then 1990, and then 2020. If you make a comparison between now and then, from 1960s, uh, people, when they got married in 1960, it was early 20s, 21. 1990s, it was mid 20s. Now it's the late 20s, early 30s. Average 28 years old. Main reason women used to get married is one, financial security, social pressure, motherhood. That was in the early 1960s. 1990s, love and companionship ruled the day when people got married, starting a family. Now, emotional connection is important. Shared goals are important. It's optional. It's not known for survival. We don't need it for survival. That's why I always tell men, you have to convince women to come to the table. They don't need you like that anymore. They don't need to be married like that. I'm saying, not necessarily they need a man. They don't need to be married anymore to get the same results. Well, women's role in 1960 was homemaker, caregiver, supportive wife. 1990, balanced work women, balanced work, balanced career, home life roles were elastic or changeable. Now we want an equal partner, career focused, co-parenting, sometimes head of the household. Okay. Divorce. What about divorce? 1960 was divorces were there was a black mark against divorce. Very high black marks for getting divorced. 1960, less so. Now, minimum divorce is normalized if the relationship is unhealthy. Single motherhood, same thing. Heavily stigmatized in 1960. Common and acceptable right now. Many women choose that because they don't want to have man around. The cultural messaging for women in 1960 was a good woman becomes a wife and a mother. In 1890s, you can have a career and a family. And now, build your life first, marriage if it fits in. That's how it is today. Access to birth control was limited, widely available in 1990, fully accessible and used to plan life freely. Okay. Legal rights in marriage were limited. She couldn't get a credit card without her husband. Limited, improved, but we had more autonomy in 1990. And now we got full legal independence. We can own anything that we want, have credit cards, blase, the whole nine. Now we have less focus on pressure to get married. Marriage was women's life expected goal in 1960. Marriage is a choice today, not necessity. Women prioritize independence and compatibility, right? Mental and emotional health. So it's all about whether you want to get married or not. It's not a plus. It's not a factor. A lot of women decide they don't want to get married because they don't want the emotional labor of dealing with a husband. And I get all that. I get that. Right? Because you don't want to do what you don't want to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Your mental health, your well-being, all of that comes first before you get married, before you do anything. Men too. Men have to prioritize what they find important too. People have to evolve as human beings. They have to evolve. Why are you on this planet? Marriage and children is not the only reason that you would be on this planet. It's a given. It's a beautiful thing, but it's not the biggest thing that's on the planet. We would love for people to want to get married, but we want people who have equal partnership in these relationships, right? Which is why I like to read the letters from married people and find out real world problems of people who want to get married or who have gotten married. And then we have a discussion about why they got married and why this particular problem came up in a marriage. Right? So this is wild. This is my first letter. This is our first letter. My goodness. Put it on the screen right there. Here's one. Thank you to everyone who replied to my original. I really appreciate the perspective. I spent the rest of the day interacting with the texter and digging. My husband did post nude photos. Oof, with his whole face on a sub for married men and unmarried women to interact with. I found 2 years worth of Reddit history of him sliding into women's DMs and commenting on other women's stories, thirst traps, and a variety of other subs, including multiple DMs. Women, it was geared towards infidelity, disgusting things, and asking him to DM them. So the texter was a sextortionist. They asked me for $1,000, or they were going to post my husband's nude pictures and send them to our family members. Someone sent her nude photos of her husband and said, your husband is on the internet sending women and men nude photos. And the person that sent her the photos said she wants $1,000 from her. Otherwise, she's going to post them on a bigger platform and let everyone see the photos of her husband nude. Okay. Which is crazy wild. What'd she say? She said, they asked me, this extortionist, they asked me for $1,000, or they were going to post my husband's pictures, his nude photos, and send them to our family members and friends and children. I called their bluff, albeit it's only been 24 hours. Before calling their bluff, they sent me screenshots of both of them communicating on Telegram. We think the extortionist was able to hack his Telegram, and that's how they got my information. When confronted, his excuses were really, really lame, making me believe he is still lying. I'm just so lost. 2 years he has been posting nude pics. We have been married for 15 years. Wow. So my question is, what does one do with that? What does one do with that? My advice, and I don't know about anybody else's because nobody else is up here. My advice is that you no longer have a marriage, because you have decided to trash your marriage for some reason, and you threw it away. He's lying. Yes, he might do some freaky thing. He's sending nudes to people on the internet. Okay? It's not a one-time thing. This is something that has been going on for 2 years, which means he's been deceiving you. He has been undermining your relationship. What if he was sending things to your coworkers? What if he was sending things to his boss? What if he was sending things to any number of people? What would you think? Put yourself in that situation. If you, as a woman, was sending nudes to everybody around the internet, what would that man do? That man would be ready to kick you straight to the curb. Get out. You got to go. Okay. It could be. He made those choices. That's an extreme. It could be. I understand the default, Black America. Default is always the female's fault. Make me think you don't like women too much. If you always blame the woman, this is his fault. This is his accountability. He's not sending dick pics. He's sending whole body, face, everything pic. So everybody knows who he is. He's sending all of it. He ain't just sending no dick pic. Right? That's the bad thing. Okay? She deserves better than that. And why did he do it? Do you want to know why he did it, or are you not concerned about why he did it? Okay. That's my thing. Are you concerned about why he did it, or does it matter? Okay. It can be any number of things. But she did say that every time she talked to him, the excuses sound worse. The excuses sound worse. Okay. And there's so many ways in which he has deceived her. Okay. Now it's out of control. Just think, if I sent nude photos to one website, okay, you sent them to one website, and then that was cool. You sent it to one website, but he sent it everywhere. He sent it to multiple sites, multiple people, and now you have somebody writing me as the wife and saying to me, your husband is showing his face, his whole body, everything nude. He's showing it to men and women. And now I want $1,000 from you because your man don't know. Yeah, he's sloppy. It's embarrassing. You've embarrassed yourself. You've embarrassed the family, the relationship, the marriage. I would have to end it. You would have to end it. That's just like a woman doing it with a man. Men don't want to see a woman. Yeah, he could be gay. Men don't want to see his woman all over the internet in new. And same thing with a woman. I wake up and I see my husband and on it, me and him. If you don't have a very brilliant explanation as to why you're on the internet nude, why you're on the internet showing your body, why you're sending it to all different. What were you doing? Were you trying to be exhibitionist? Do you got an overly big? Then again, he could have an overly big appendage. Some people are weird like that. My shit is about 16 inches. I wanted to see the expression. I wanted to see the other day. I saw a dude who put his shit on his forearm, from the middle of his hand to his crook of his elbow. His shit was that big, and he was on that shit was that big, and I was like, whoa. So maybe he's got a big appendage, and it was like that. But either way it go, it was ridiculous. Okay, but I say just leave him. The sleazy excuses that you have is the reason why he doesn't care. Okay. He doesn't care. There's no hope for that marriage, and there's no reason to hit him. Or he just wanted to send nudes. He just wanted to send nudes. Okay. And a lot of people say, don't jump to a divorce. There is no counseling for something like this. I just don't see it as any kind of counseling. Anybody got a different take on what she should do? Leave it in the comment section for me. Okay. The next one. Is there any way to fix the infidelity in my marriage if I don't feel guilty about it? If you don't feel guilty about it. If you don't feel guilty about it. Hold on. I have cheated on my wife. Maybe like 10 women a year for the past 3 years. They've been married 15 years. That dude has showed his body 15 years. My issue started when she stopped being physical with me after we had a baby. There was also issues of her dating other people when we got together. She didn't tell me that she was dating other people. I found out after we got married. Okay. He said I would have stopped dating her if I would have known that she had been dating other men when we were dating. Men casually she was dating. But by the time I found out, she was pregnant. He said, in that case, you become the person that you hate. Cheating is something that eases my pain. I've tried going to work, going to the gym, meditating. She was pregnant again, and it triggered my old trauma of finding out about her, and I went on a cheating spree. Whew. This time I couldn't bother to cover my tracks. She found out. She decided to have an abortion. AB. I obviously didn't stop women. I obviously didn't stop try to stop her, but she couldn't go through with it. I don't feel guilty for cheating on her. I have tried. I just don't. She threatened divorce. She cried. She begged, and I still don't feel anything. Maybe I'm just too hurt by her dishonesty and rejection. Yeah, wow. Okay. First and foremost, if the person doesn't match your intimacy level and you don't feel like you can live with not having intimacy, get out of the relationship. It's a controversial stand, but I'm going to make that stand. I'm going to make that stand because there's a lot of people out here who run into spouses that don't want to have sex after a couple years. And you either we all have different levels of libido. You have a high libido, a mid libido, or you have a low libido. High libido means you want to have sex more often than a normal person. Some men have high, low, and medium, and so do women. That's one of the most important things, is to find someone that meets you in the middle, that meets you where you are. If you have a high libido, you want to have a woman or a man who has a mid to high libido. Okay. If you meet someone and they don't want to have sex like that, but you have a high libido, you're going to have a problem. There's going to be a problem in the marriage. What's normal for men? What's normal for men is the mid to high libido, and what's normal for women is the low to mid libido. And sometimes there's very rare is some that hit the high, right? I was talking to this guy today, and he wants to date me, but he don't seem to understand that he keeps telling on himself when it comes to the women that he's dating. Because he said, when you gonna call my number? He gave me his number months ago. Months ago, so I never called it. Right? When are you gonna call me? I was like, weren't you dating some other chick a couple weeks ago? Didn't you tell me about a chick you were dating a couple weeks ago? He was like, yeah, but she don't like to have sex. Yeah, but you felt the need to pursue her over me. So what am I supposed to take by that? My sex drive is normal, mid to high. You picked the wrong chick. Can't help it. But usually you try to make it the same, be similar. Okay. This guy, yeah, you're going to catch something he can't get rid of. 10 women a year. He pursuing chicks once a month. Once a month, he doing crazy wild sex. You can't tell me he ain't having sex more than once with these women. Okay. Let's address that issue. He said he found out that she was dating other men when they were dating. And this was his trigger response or bonding response. Casual dating other people while you're dating casual dating other people. Let me put it that when you both are not legally bound to each other or emotionally bound to each other at the very beginning of you dating, that's not called cheating. Because I would never stop dating. If I was dating 3-4 men, just casually dating every once in a while, go out and date with him, go out and date with him once a week or go out and whatever. If I'm casually dating I'm casually dating you, I would definitely tell you that I'm dating these people, not necessarily sleeping with those people. And you would have the choice as to whether you wanted to stick around. But you can't blame me for dating other people while we were dating. We never made it official as I want to be serious with you. I don't stop dating because you come into my life, because I don't know whether you're the correct person or not. I don't know who you are until I've been on 2 or 3 dates with you. I don't know who you are. Nobody does that. That's one of the internet things where, well, I just got to stop dating when I meet you. No, that's not how that works. That's never how that works. Because I don't know whether you're the right person for me. So I wouldn't stop dating people. I wouldn't be sleeping with other people, but I wouldn't be dating you and just stop dating other people. That just wouldn't work. Okay. And then the fact that he used that against her. Oh, that's the reason why I'm dating and I'm cheating, because you were dating people when we got together, and you didn't tell me you were dating other people. So now I feel like that's a trauma bond excuse. It's my excuse to cheat. No, you're a pig. You're a pig. Okay. You're a pig. You don't feel guilty because he doesn't feel guilty because he needs a justification for what he's doing, for the slight things he's doing, the cheating that he's doing. And I get it. Maybe it hurts you that she would. Why didn't you make her your girlfriend immediately if that was the case? Why didn't you say, I want to be exclusive? It's a different thing if you told her you wanted to be exclusive and she was still sleeping with other men. That's a different story. But if you didn't want to be exclusive, you can't hold that against her. Okay. Here's the thing. She found out. You've been doing it for a while, but she just found out. You were very casual. He's petty. He's not going to forgive her anytime soon. So how many bodies you going to take down to feel even? There's no point in there. Yeah, there's definitely no point in that relationship. Because where you come from, you have nowhere to go. He has taken no accountability. Okay? No accountability for what he has done. He has detached from her. He doesn't have any feelings for her. This is why that relationship should be over. It should be over even if he had feelings for her. Because he's going to go, that's his default, going to cheat. And that's if he cared about her. If he doesn't care about her, he would still be doing the things he's doing now. So how is she supposed to navigate you having done it for 3-4 years? I cheated because you were seeing other people while we were dating. Instead of coming to talk to me about it, you decided you were going to trick off with other women. What is she supposed to say then? Okay. Just divorce her already. There's nothing that you can do to make it up to her because she just found out she's pregnant. You be lucky, dude. And I'm not one of those people that says, if you cheat on me, that doesn't make you a good father. No, it just means you're a shitty partner. You're a shitty husband. And then act accordingly. Okay. And that's the most difficult thing. I would have to make, if she decided to stay, you'd have to have medical testing. I'd have to have the passwords to your phone. I'd have to have, no, it wasn't about her not having sex. This is not that one. It wasn't about her not having sex. This one was about, she stopped being physical after, really physical after they cheated, after she had a child. Yes, she stopped being completely physical. Okay. Completely physical is still not having sex at all. He just used a excuse. No, you cannot give people an excuse to cheat. Otherwise, it would be the same on the other side, Black America. I have an excuse to cheat if you don't wash clothes like I asked you to, or help me clean up, or help me take care of the kids, or help me do it. I have an excuse to cheat. That don't even make sense. That don't even make sense. I have an excuse to cheat because you're not getting. No. Yes, it's using cheating as a passive aggressive way to punish her is lame as hell. You just don't want to be married to, you don't want to be tied down to her. You don't want to be married to her. Yes, he has mixed feelings. And why didn't you go to a counselor? Why didn't you go talk to somebody about that? Why didn't you go to therapy and find out why you felt this way before she found out you were cheating? He said, we are in therapy. I understand her pain, but I still don't feel guilty. So that tells me that you don't care whether I leave or I go. She needs to exit that relationship. And then he needs to reflect before he gets into another relationship. You need to reflect. And the best revenge is to have the best marriage, the best relationship I can after I leave you. See, I would not pull all of that onto me if I was the wife. I would not pull any of your bullshit onto me. I stopped having consistent sex with you, but we were having sex. You decided that you were going to cheat because of whatever reason you wanted to cheat. I wish you very much well, but I would probably have a hard time having a conversation with you from here on out. And I would not feel guilty either. I would make you do all the work when it comes to your child. I would make you do all the work. You want to see your child, then you have to come get him. You want to do this, then you're going to have to figure it out. I'm not going to help you do anything whatsoever because now all the effort has to come on your side. If you want to have a relationship with your child, you are going to have to make the effort because I'm not here to make you feel better. I was here to make you feel better when we were married, but you weren't there to help me feel better. Okay. So I wouldn't stop you from seeing your child, but I wouldn't do anything to help you. Anything. Dad, why are you and mom not together? I wouldn't have any kind. You need to ask your dad why that happened. You need to ask him why that happened. Not me. You need to ask your dad. But that's what I would do. Walk away clean. If he's any kind of human being, he should walk away clean and find somebody that he cares about. Maybe he's going through some mental anguish or something where he can't feel guilt. But the one thing you don't do is stay in a marriage and deliberately harm another human being. You don't know what you gave that woman. You don't know whether you gave that woman anything, any kind. Well, maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe you do. Men do that anyway. Yeah, well, I mean, hey, some of it is their making. Some of it is their making. Some of it is her making. Everybody has to do what they got to do. Hopefully, all y'all are hitting the like button coming in the door. Hopefully, all y'all are hitting the like button. But that ain't cool. We got a like button, super chat, cash apps, all of those good things. I don't get cash apps from y'all. I don't get super chats from y'all. Every once in a while. But hit the like button. The engagement is important. It is, it is. Okay. I told my wife, third me, I told my wife, no, let me do this one. Only married men or men in relationship need apply. To all the married men, what advice would you give single men looking to marry soon? What would be the advice? Okay. That's just a question that somebody posed, right? If I were giving a single woman, if I were giving a woman, single woman advice, just straight up single, if I had to give her a couple things to do, if you wanted to get married in this life, I would tell her this. The biggest hurdle to getting married, or the biggest choice or decision to get married, is picking the right human being. Picking the right human being, right? And picking the right human being comes from first being in the room with the person that you desire, being that person having the basic or the bare minimum of what you want in a relationship. That room has to be filled with those human beings, the ones that you want. The bulk of the decision to get married is to have the right person. That's that's how you get a successful marriage. Being in the room with the people or the men or the women that you desire. And you're never going to be in that room if your outer appearance, which is the first thing people notice, if the outer appearance is distorted in some way. First, look at the person that you want. No, submission doesn't work like that, Black America. I thought you've been on my channel long enough to know. You have to be the optimized version of yourself. You have to figure out who you want first. Who you want first. I'm talking about successful things to be married. Who do you want? You want to be married to Daffy Duck, or you want to be married to Tyrese, or you want to be married to Denzel Washington? Those three factors. Which one do you want to be married? Well, Daffy Duck requires you to wear a diaper, or Daffy Duck requires you to be submissive, or Denzel Washington requires you to be a partner, or Tyrese requires you to be X, Y, and Z. You have to figure out what of those three men you like, which one of those three men that you want. And then everything about them you have to be able to accept when they walk in the door. So 80%, 90%, I'd say 75, 80% is picking a good partner, a successful partner. I require a partner to be able to articulate, to be funny, to have a dry sense of humor, to be tall, to be personable, to be engaging, and to be open-minded to me and my quirkiness. And quirkiness is not, I don't mean like I like to be pissed on, not that kind of quirkiness, but you have to be those are requirements that I require in a man. So I only go into rooms and I only engage with men who have at least 5 to 10 of those qualities. Sense of humor, open-minded, conversation-wise, knows how to talk, doesn't come across as creepy, blah, blah, blah. I only go into the room with those men. So 80% of successful marriages come out of picking the right person, going into the right room for the right person. The second part is to pick a person that does not sit back and watch life happen to you. You want a person that engages with you in life. If you do certain things, you want your spouse to do certain things. If you hike and stay in shape, you want a partner who hikes and stays in shape. If you're one of those people who like to walk after dinner, take an hour-long walk after dinner, you want a partner that will walk an hour long after dinner. If this person is already doing these things when you marry them, when you meet them, washing dishes, washing clothes, taking care of the car, doing all of these things on their own, you at least have a compatibility piece with that person, and you know that person will indulge in the things that you indulge in. Nothing pisses a person off when they get into a relationship, and when I'm your girlfriend and I get to your house and you're on the game playing basketball, or you're on the game playing Xbox, or you're on the game and you don't want to go anywhere. Or he comes over to your house and you're ready to hit the door with the girls. That's incompatibility. You have to be in the room with the person, get into the room with the person that has things in common with you. Because there's enough of them on this planet that you can be attracted. Attraction is number one. I get that. It is number one. The more people you are around, the more people that have interests like you, the 9 times out of 10, you're going to find a person that's like you, that you can get along with, that you can be compatible with. Okay. The last part I say to women is, don't get out of shape. I hate to say it like that. Him not get out of shape. You not get out of shape. If you come into the relationship fat, have at it. Go ahead. But if you come into the relationship with a decent body, a decent persona, a decent look, try to keep that same look. Try to keep that same thing. Everybody on this planet understands the less food you eat, the better shape you'll be in. Everybody understands that. We're not going to pretend like we don't understand that. Everyone understands that. So be compatible with the person that you got. That is the most important thing, picking the right human being. We don't date for potential. Don't date for potential. When you're in your 20s, we are looking to find ourselves. We are looking to mold ourselves. You look for the things that you want to see in that person. Are you ambitious? Are you going somewhere? Are you doing things? What are you doing in your 20s? Well, I don't work, but I go to college. I work a part-time job, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that kind of potential you can live with because he has other things going on. Okay, yes, must be respectful. When you're in your 30s, 40s, we should be established into maybe knowing what we want to do, how many children we want. Let's be clear. The more children you have, and I tell my daughters this all the time. I told them this all the time. The more children you have, the poorer you're going to be. Listen to me. Don't get upset. The more children you have, the poorer you're going to be. Specifically, if you don't have a husband, specifically, if you don't have a wife. That includes men and women. The more children you have, the poorer you're going to be if you don't have a companion. So having children is an economic thing. It's not just having a child, it's an economic thing. If you don't have money to have, if you can barely take care of yourself, you should never. Birkin, it costs less to go to the gas station and get a condom than it costs to raise a child for 18 years. That's all I'm going to say about that. Less money. Go to the gas station, get a condom. Go to the health department, get on Birkin. Do whatever you got to do until you have that peace where you can afford, either on your own or with somebody, a child. And that's the lecturing HQ is going to do when it comes to getting married, right? Because I believe it should be a certain way after years of doing things and being married. These are the comments. Yes, condom costs less than having an AB2. Go to the gas station, get a condom. That's it. That's all. Or keep them in your pocket, however you need to do it, right? So that's my advice I would give to somebody if they were interested in getting a single person and they were interested in getting married. That picking piece, that initial picking piece of picking someone is the most important thing. It has to be, because all things follow after that. The minute somebody does something outrageous, okay, the minute somebody does anything outrageous when it comes to relationships, you walk. Regardless of what you got going on, you walk. And that's why I recommend that you never get pregnant by a person unless you're like 2 or 3 years into the relationship. 2 or 3 years into the relationship. And you're going in a solid direction. Okay? Not, I got pregnant 2 months after we met. Hell no. No. Thank you, Darkstar 1485 499 super sticker. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Because you don't know how the direction of that relationship is going. So therefore, why would you bring a child into it? You shouldn't. Okay. So the next letter. My husband told me that we don't work anymore, and it's my fault. My husband told me we don't work anymore. When he said it, I was slapped into reality. When COVID hit, we fought to stay afloat. We lost our business. We lost our home. And my husband used someone else's money, a client of my husband's. He took the money from the client, used it to help our family. He told the person that he used their money. The client took my husband to court and had him charged with a felony. My husband did 30 days in jail and 10 years probation with restitution. We lost our business. We lost our home. We lost everything, and we were homeless. We eventually came to live with my aunt at his aunt's house. I'm sorry. The first year we were there, we tried to get along with everyone and help clean up the house, keep it together. He said that was very difficult. So we stayed there for a while. Okay. Alcohol, weed, one of those type families, one of those type relationship. No drugs and alcohol, probation and all that. We couldn't do any of those things. My husband works 10 hours a day, night shift 5 days a week, so he isn't around much. So family and I started to fight. Okay. I hate dirty things. I hate a dirty house, but we have to stay where we are. Okay. This is where he says it's my fault. I emotionally shut down. For the past 3 years, I've hidden in our room and stayed to myself. I stopped functioning. Before this, I was a great wife. House was clean, floor was mopped, kids were fed, went to work, all of that. I stopped because of our living situation. I was very upset. I cleaned toilets at this house. I cleaned the house. They messed up. I would cook. I would clean. I did all of that. He said he adapted to living with other people, and I need to adapt to living with other people. I have not adapted. He said I shut down. He said, well, because of my shut mouth or my closed mouth, my husband says we don't work anymore. That the moment that came out of his mouth, I've been in high gear, just pushing through everything. I wrote him a letter and asked if he would give me a chance to fix it. He said he would consider what I said and we would talk. He's hardly said anything to me since. I went to see a mental health provider. Oh, wow. To get help. I've been cleaning, doing laundry, doing shopping, running errands, looking for work. I have no idea if he's even noticed or if this is going to make a difference between us. I keep having panic attacks with the thought of losing my soulmate. I love him with every bit of my soul and feel like he's freezing me out. I'm getting my life together now. I guess I have to be prepared to do it with or without him. I ruined everything. Wow. First and foremost, your husband stole from someone. He stole from one of his clients. He went to jail. He lost the house. You all had to pay the house. You had to pay for the house. You had to pay the client back. You had to pay all of these things. And now you ended up on someone's house, someone's couch, because your husband you stuck by him even when he did all of these things. Now he's saying because you have become numb to the situation, his family is shitty. They don't want to clean. They don't want to cook. They don't want to do any of these things. And you're doing all of these things for them. Now Black America, you see how you blame that all on him? Whose fault is it, Black America? Whose fault is it? If it's not his fault, how is it her fault? You would have to explain that to me. You steal, you put us in the house with your relatives smoke, drink, get high, do all of these things, don't want to clean up. I'm in your family's house because you stole money. Whose fault is it, Black America, that now I don't feel like indulging with anyone? Yes, her shutting down is her fault. Everything else is his fault. I would not have shut down if it was not for what you did. Okay. He's not taking that into account. She's apologizing and falling all over herself to keep someone, to keep someone who put you in that position. And he has not been aggressive enough to get you out of that situation. Okay. He hasn't been monetarily aggressive enough to get you out of this situation. No, they don't lose a house in 30 days. Right. Okay. He has a felony, restitution theft. They're living in squalor. He should be getting her out of that situation, out of that whole thing. Okay. But see, I don't necessarily completely blame him for that. Where is her funding? Where is her money? Usually a woman is going to follow a man wherever he goes. Yes, this is what I'm assuming happened. She had a whole mental breakdown. Okay. She just shut down. She couldn't deal with all of the stuff that he put, all of that. Lost all of their house. He was funneling money. He was using money for the house to do whatever he needed to do, and they lost the house. They lost the business. They lost all of. You lose everything when the whole town knows that you're a thief, that you steal people's money. That's what she found. They had a business of their own where they had stewardship of other people's money. He stole the other people's money. And then they lost the business. They lost their house because they didn't have any funding. Maybe she worked in the business with him. And then they lost the business. They lost everything. And then in order for them to survive, they were homeless for a little while, she said. Because he's been paying restitution. They had to eat, they had to live, they had to do whatever. And then he found somewhere to live with his family, and his family drink, smoke, all that other stuff. Okay. So she went numb to the whole situation. Her brain just fried. I'm saying that's all his fault. Even her shutting down was partially his fault, because he put her in that predicament. I'm saying maybe she could have came out of it if she would have had her own funding, but she was working with him. I'm assuming working in the family business with him, and he stole your client's money. No, a client, if you hold money for a client for whatever, deposits or whatever, I don't know, he took it, whatever it was. Okay. Yes, and that felony can severely hinder him. But there's other professions that you can do. There's other professions that you can do. I don't know what he was paying for. I don't know. She didn't say what he was stealing from. I don't know. Okay. Because if you put me in a hole where I'm homeless, we gonna have an issue. We gonna have a real serious issue, right? And I'm not gonna look at you the same. But how dare you come to me and say it's my fault because I shut down because you put me in this predicament? Okay. Maybe he had a gambling problem, sex addiction, any weird number of things. We don't know because they don't express it. Why? But I do know that the linchpin was the losing of the house, making me live with your family. I don't do the things your family do. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do, weed. I don't do any of those things. So of course I would stay in. Of course she doesn't do those things. So she would stay in the bedroom. She wouldn't indulge in those things. She would stay in the bedroom, out of the way, while you went to work. You go to work. I have to stay and watch the kid or do whatever. I'm in the bedroom. I'm stuck in the bedroom. I completely shut down at one point. So what would my advice be for this woman? What would I say? I'd say, when my husband came home, I would say, you need to get me out of this house. You need to get me out of this house within 6 months. Otherwise, this relationship is over. Because I will get us out of this house. I will get me out of this house if you don't get me out of this house. Mm-hmm. And we have to understand there's some human beings that don't have the mental capacity. Black America, this is that family that I'm talking about, that family that needed to be on them food stamps. The family that even though they work, they don't make enough money to survive doing what they need to do. She said, what did she say to him? What did she say he worked? He worked, let me see. My husband works 10-hour night shifts 5 days a week. Sounds like he work in a factory to me. Okay. So he works in a factory to me. He hasn't made enough money to get her out of there, which tells me he doesn't make a lot of money. Okay. She has panic attacks. She has therapy. She does all of these things. That's what I'm saying. They've been there for a minute. Okay. Work 2 jobs. Get you, if you know I can't function, I'm not functioning, you need to get 2 jobs. You need to do something every day of the week. You need to be going to work. Every time you get off work, you need to be handing me your check and you need to be going to another job. Get me out of this house. Otherwise, I'm getting the fuck out of here myself. Because you put us in this job. You need to make us whole. As a family, you need to make us whole from the bullshit that you did. No, he needs to, regardless of what money she has, he needs to get her out of that house because she's barely functioning. She is barely functioning. She has to recover mentally. She can get a job, but apparently she doesn't make enough money. She doesn't have enough. I'm assuming she doesn't have enough education or experience to get a high profile job. I'm assuming she will be able to get a regular, normal, everyday job. And that job is not going to pay enough on her own to get them out of there. I'm assuming that. I could be wrong. And his family drink, smoke, weed, do all of them things, party and everything. You know they're going to want a piece of that money. They're going to want a piece of the money. She go out to work. Hey, you work? I need $100 because y'all staying here. That type thing. They were homeless. They were homeless for a little while until he asked his family for them to move in. So that tells me he doesn't make enough money. Yeah, they need too much. Yeah, they both need 2 jobs. Yes, each. Right. So this is what I'm telling you with regular, normal, everyday wear and tear. These are one of those people that them food stamps would have helped them supplement. These are the type people that get the food stamp. These are the type people. Okay. Yeah, I know, right? She sadly, definitely has only 2 choices: come back up from the bottom with him or come back up by herself. And it's going to take her double as hard to get out of there by herself. So she got to come up out of there with him. She said that there's kids. She said every time I got to clean the toilet, someone would go in there and piss and or shit all over it. I would clean the kitchen, and as soon as I was done, one of the kids would bring a pile of dishes out of their bedroom and put them in the sink, or they would cook and get food and grease everywhere and just leave it all around. It was a constant uphill battle, and I just shut down. So this is where she was at. And he said that you needed to learn how to adapt to it and deal with it. So yeah, so she was a built-in maid, so it wasn't like she could go work. He's working, but he got to do more than do what that one job in order for them to get out of there. She has panic attacks. Now she got to clean the house, do all of that stuff. Yeah, this is where she's at. Okay. And he said, the reason why this is not going to work is because you're not adapting to this family. You're not adapting to this situation. Right. Yeah, that's shitty. Ain't that shitty, Calvin Cook? Ain't that shitty as hell? That's called working to live. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. Okay. And there's a lot of human beings out here that are working to live. And working to live. Ooh, that's fucked up. I'm thinking about it. I don't like that. It makes me feel icky when I hear that human beings got to work to live. You can't afford nothing. You can't afford nothing. You can't afford nothing. Get you a pack of cigarettes. When I remember when me and Fee were broke as shit. When we, broke as shit being married. You just broke. It is what it is. And we smoked. I would buy a carton of cigarettes every payday, a carton of cigarettes. And then we would have to ration the cigarettes between us. For every 2 weeks, we'd have to ration. So, cut cigarettes in half. We can only smoke 6 packs this week. Okay. We can only smoke 6 packs this week. So that basically means you only got 6 cigarettes. You only got 10 cigarettes or however many cigarettes come in the pack. You only got 10 for the day. You only got 10 or you only got 5. Don't smoke no more than that. You know what I'm saying? That's working to live. That's fucked up. Okay. So I'm saying they need to get out of there. I know, right? After I stopped smoking, I was like, God damn. Smoking too, goddamn. But that's how that's how it was. I could only smoke 6 cigarettes a day, so I had to choose wisely. Well, I wanted that. I want one in the car. I want one after dinner. I had to choose very wisely. Then we got to the point where we had to roll our own cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? Roll cigarette. So I'm saying there's a lot of people out here working to live. Okay. And this sounds like that couple. So he needs to, my advice is to get the hell out of that house. 6 months. She got to buckle down and y'all just got to leave that house the way it is. Them people got to do what they got to do. You and your husband. But see, that's the kind of family where you put food in the refrigerator and that shit, you come home and that shit gone. You know what I'm saying? You come home, you put bologna in the refrigerator, you come home, that shit is gone. That's the kind of that's the kind of house that they are in. And who the hell can, unless you're going to put food in your refrigerator. But I know for a fact, if you leave food in your refrigerator in your room, motherfucker going to figure out a way to come into your damn room and take your damn food. Y'all know what I discovered today? I was saving money. Just my pennies, nickels, dimes, and all that. And I kept it in my car. I kept it in my car. It was a jar full of pennies, nickels, quarters, that kind of thing. It must have been about $30, right? And I don't know when I went into the car and it wasn't there. I don't know how long it's been gone. That fucked up my whole understanding. I was like, somebody broke into my car. But then again, they didn't break in my car because I leave my car unlocked. So somebody just walked into my car and took it was a jar, for a plastic jar full of quarters, nickels, dimes, whatever. They must have needed it. They broke into my car and they took it. They just opened the door, took it right on out of my car. So I hope that $30 got you some food. I hope that happened. But I was like stunned when I looked over there in the wheel well of the passenger side, and the jar was gone. I was like, wait a minute, did I take that jar out? Did I put that jar somewhere? What did I do? Oh shit, somebody stole it. Yeah, I know. I know. Because ain't nobody walking down the street with a jar full of money. It's somebody in the neighborhood. Yeah, I know. I hope they good. Hey, it was 30, $40. Hey, but I had been saving it for months. No, as a matter of fact, I've been saving it for years because I had it at my front door. But I just decided to put it in the car because I was like, wait a minute, well, I gotta fill this up and get this out of here. And maybe, I had some money for Christmas, a nice dinner or something. It was on 30, $40. I can't, whatever. I hope you got a good dinner. Yeah, somebody needed a car and a cigarette. But anyway, that's what we would do when we were poor. We'd have to ration the cigarettes. So this is where they're at. Living to work, working to live. And that's fucked up. Both of y'all can get out of there in 2 months if y'all both got 2 jobs. But then again, if they're poor, they don't have another car. If they poor, you know what I'm saying? It's many, many circumstances. But I would tell them, look, we got to get up out of here within 6 months. Either I'm going with you, or I'm going by myself. Okay. It is what it is. But I'm not cleaning up after these people. I'm not cleaning the dishes. I'm not cooking. She's doing all of that. Cooking, cleaning, bathroom, all of that for all of them people in that house. Okay. All of them people in that house. Ain't no way. But sometimes we're in those predicaments where we got to live. Okay. We got to do that. This is another letter. I told my wife I wanted a divorce. So my 25-year-old wife, and I'm 31, recently received her permanent residency card through marriage. Oh, shit. She's been away from her home country, Colombia, for over 2 years. So she immediately booked a trip to visit her dad, and while he was on vacation from work. Before she went on her trip, however, she said she wanted to get out of the United States and clear her mind because we've been having some economic and marital difficulties. Fast forward 3 weeks later, we barely talked while she's been on her trip. She started to become increasingly colder week by week. In fact, I noticed that she started to block me on her stories, Instagram, TikTok, X, Y, and Z. When I brought this up, she again told me that this trip was to forget about everything here and that she wanted to have some space while there. Ooh-wee. I finally became fed up and told her that I won't tolerate her behavior of ignoring my texts and phone calls, of which there are hardly any regardless, as well as her blocking me. She attempted what I believe was to gaslight me and ask me why I was checking to see if she had me blocked. I told her that I was moving forward and that she could expect the divorce proceedings soon. Wow. This is all really sad because I'm about to join the Air Force, and the plan was for us to finally move away and start a family once I completed basic training. In you guys' opinion, did I do the right thing? I felt I was in the right for what I believe to be blatant disrespect from our marriage. I am saddened but still determined to go through with the proceedings if she comes back. Wow. He's fed up with her behavior. Let me school you, son. Let me tell you, son, what's going on. You married a passport chick. A chick who married you, which happened a lot when you went. Wait a minute. I gotta be clear. When you marry a foreign woman, this is the chance that you take. That they married you just to get a marriage residency card. She planned it perfectly, my brother. 2 Trill. She planned it perfect. My wife recently received her permanent residency card through marriage. She went back to Colombia to visit her family, and she ain't been back since. Which means, one, she really didn't want to be married to you. She just wanted a residency card here in the United States. She married you because she knew that was the only way for her to get it. 3, she went back to her family. 4, she really never wanted to be married to you. 5, your game must be trash, because why would she just, soon as she got her card, she was out. That is the peril that you men run into when you marry these foreign ladies from these countries that make less than what we make in a week. They make all year. That's the harm that you make. I have known people who have been married for a long time, and the minute the kid turns 18, the wife is out. The foreign wife is out because she marries you to get into the United States. That's the problem with you marrying women from countries that don't make as much money or don't have as, but their cost of living is way low. They live in squalor, and you go over there. Oh, she's so beautiful. Oh, I'm gonna make her my wife. She's so submissive. And there's nothing wrong with going to find that particular person. Nothing wrong with that. But you have to, that's the price that you pay. That's the problem that you face when you go and find a foreign lady. And this lady timed it perfectly. Soon as her dad went on vacation, she was out. I ain't marrying you. I'm posting on Instagram. I'm pasting on TikTok. I'm married. I'm an American citizen now. I married an American man. I don't got to deal with none of that. I was married to you. You stay over in the United States, and I'm going to be over here in Colombia and doing me, doing whatever I need to do. You the sucker that married me. Yeah, same thing. No, not the same thing. We both got American citizenship. It don't happen like that here. You know what I'm talking about. You gotta come up off that ledge, Black America. You gotta come up off that ledge. It's not the woman. Sometimes it's not all the woman's fault. Sometimes it's not all the men. But when it's clearly like the last story, it was his fault. They put him in that predicament, and clearly it's his fault right now. You know why it's his fault? Because he chose her, and nobody told him to go over there and choose a human. See, you have red flags. Everybody can see red flags. All of a sudden, she all of a sudden got sick. Hell no. My brother got paid $20K to marry a Japanese woman. She all of a sudden got sick. Hey, they run some good scams. These people run some good scams. You know, if you gonna marry somebody because you want citizenship, then you need to be upfront about it. You need to say, hey, I'll pay you X, Y, and Z to marry me. Okay. I'd be like, it's gonna have to be incremental. I want X, Y, and Z up front. A year in, I want X, Y, and Z. Another year, I want X, Y, and Z. If I don't get it, I'm gonna cut you loose, and I'm gonna say you did something to make me make you my wife. You did something to make me your husband, but you will not get you. But you'll be out of money from paying me if you don't do it the way you do it. Okay. I don't know what you mean by that, Black America. I don't know what you mean. So if you're going to do that, be upfront. So I would give the advice to this young man. It's going to hurt, my brother. It's going to hurt, but you cut her loose right now. before she decides that she gonna get pregnant by somebody else or you, cut her loose right now and cut your losses, because she married you to get the American residency card. She just did. It's too late. Too late. Hopefully you got some good shit out of it. Hopefully she wasn't denying you sex. Hopefully she was giving, giving the good guy got. Hopefully she was doing all that. Okay. As long as she was doing all of that and you got all the things, you hope it was cut your losses right now. Okay. Sometimes this happens. I've heard of it happening a lot, because sometimes I go over to the Passport Bro sections and the Passport Bro comment sector. I go over there sometime and I listen to the guy's story. Some of the guy's stories, some of the, specifically Razor Rays. If y'all don't know Razor Rays, y'all go over there and sub to his channel. He's a passport reporter. He reports on the things that happen overseas, getting the information from other passport bros. He reports on that. So I go over to his channel. His name is Razor Rays, and he's a passport bro too. But he reports on a lot of things that happen. Okay. Yes, you gotta. Why did they leave Black America? That's the question. Why do they leave? They don't leave for no reason. Women always leave for a reason. There's always a reason. You may not know it and you may not like it, but she always leaves for a reason. And no woman leaves for no reason. It's always a reason why she leaves. So my whole thing is make sure you avoid the reason that she leaves. Most women leave because their partner falls down on her. Most women leave because her partner has fallen down on her. In some way, shape, or form. She feels as though he has fallen down on her in some way, shape, or form. And that's the whole thing. You cannot get, I was telling about the 3 things that you need to do in order to have a successful marriage or be on the road to success. You need to know what those things are. You need to know how that person needs to be loved. You need to know how that, and you need to ask them, what does it mean to be loved? What does it mean? How can I show you the love the way you understand love? A lot of people want to show you how they express love. That's not how it works. You have to find out how the person you want to love receives love. You can be giving me all of this, giving me all of that, touching me, feeling, but that ain't how I want you to, that ain't how I know that it's love. That's not how I feel love. The person has to feel love. So you need to find out how your person receives love or interprets love to them. Okay. When the man leaves or the woman leaves, men have fallen down on how she receives love, or they haven't took the time to figure out how she receives that love, how she receives caring. If I tell you that I need a partner and I need you to I need you to do X, Y, and Z, but you feel like because you're the man, you don't want to do X, Y, and Z, I'm not going to feel the love that I see it. Whooping somebody's ass can look like love to people. Can we agree on that? You beating her ass, that feels like love to her. Some women, some men, whatever. If beating her ass feels like love and you don't beat her, she's going to feel like you don't love her or you don't care about her. And you may even lose her because you're a good guy. You understand what I'm saying? You have to find out how that person perceives love. And you need to figure out how you can give them that. You cannot just give them love the way you think it is. And that's the mistake a lot of people make in marriages. You're trying to give them things you think they should have. No, you need to find out how they receive it in their mind. She is used to people whooping her ass, so she thinks that's love. You need to reprogram, recalibrate that kind of thing. That's an extreme version, but you know what I'm saying. You have to figure out how they receive love, what they think love is to them. Okay. I'm a person, in order to show me love, you have to do acts of service for me. For me, it's acts of service. I wake up in the morning and the garbage just took out. I wake up in the morning and my car got gas in it. I wake up in the morning and the yard is cut and it's laid. I wake up in the morning and you've done a thing of laundry. I wake up in the morning and you remember that the refrigerator needs to be cleaned out or whatever. I am a person that you have to do acts of service for. You telling me, oh, I love you, HQ. Yeah. Touching on me. No, that's not how I receive love in my mind. You have to show me. You can't tell me. You can't. This is how I accept it. Okay. And I'm saying a lot of women leave because you have not figured out how she receives love, or they receive love, or you receive love, because every one of us is different. And if you don't figure out how that woman receives love, she's going to have a problem. He don't do what I say. He always doing it. He da 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 and da da da. It just is what it is. Every human being has a way in which they receive or they perceive love to be. You have to find out what that is. If you're involved with a person, you have to find out what it is. If you want to be around long term, you have to. Because it doesn't work any other way. Fee, my husband, his acceptance of love was touch, was affirmation and touch. Okay. So I made it my business to say things to him to let him know that I appreciated him. Okay. That was very good. That was very good. I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate you getting my car fixed. I appreciate you fixing me breakfast. I love it when you do that. I love it when you do this or that. You know, I don't speak over you. I never spoke over him. I never went against a decision that he made. These are things that show the respect, that shows that I respected or let him know that he was loved, because these are the things that he needed to feel loved. And he did things for me that made me. I never had to ask about that. I never had to ask about that. I never had to ask, is the garbage out? Are the windows locked? Did you do that? Or was that? I never had to ask that, because he knew I had to feel a certain way. But he didn't have to tell me, right? That's all he had to do was tell me one time. And when you did the acts of service for me, that just highlighted or emphasized how you felt. For me, I'm just saying for me. I'm saying for the person that you are involved with, find out. And that's why a lot of women leave, because you have not figured out what her definition of loving her means and doing those things to show her that there is love there. Okay. So it is what it is. So, and you can tell that, once a person is married for a minute, if you're married for a minute, they can figure it out. You can figure it out. Sometimes people can't tell you. Some people don't know. They just know they have a feeling of overwhelming joy, overwhelming happiness when you do something, or when you say something, when you do, or whatever. But you need to know what it is for you. I know acts of service is for me. And you need to know what yours is and what your partner's is. So yes, I see how women and men can leave. Women can leave 70% of the time. I can see that because women think men are mind readers. We got to remember that you need to be told. I need to tell you. If you buy me gifts, I'm going to tell you to take it back. I used to tell Fee that all the time. If you buy me something, I'm going to tell you to take it back because I don't want it. What do you want? What do you want? He figured it out pretty quick. She don't want nothing. She just want me to do. She just want me to be. She just want me to do this and then she's happy. Do that and then she's happy. Early on, he used to buy flowers. Don't buy me stuff. Don't buy me stuff. That doesn't tell me anything. That just means you bought something. Right? So just figure it out. Figure out what their expression of love is. And 9 times out of 10, you could be successful at it. Right? And tell her and ask her straight out. And maybe she knows, maybe she don't know. But you need to observe your partner too to figure these things out. Right? So this was fucked up. She married him for his money. She married him for the green card. She married him to get that. And there's a lot of women who do that. And this is the detriment, this is the harm in them finding this out. And that's cool because it's a lot of passport bros out there. A lot of passport bros out there. And I say, go explore the world, do whatever you need to do, but be careful because these women who come from these impoverished countries are looking to marry men who look like they got money, and you know goddamn well you ain't got no money. You can barely take care of your own ass, and then you got to take care of her too because she end up pregnant or she end up saying she pregnant. You end up feeling some type of way. And then you got a female over here who barely paying attention to you, barely you giving you sex, and 2 years go by and she's a resident. She gets a resident car and she up and she vamoose. Chick playing this for real. Ain't no way in hell I would have let her. You should have known right then. As soon as she said, I'm going to visit my father after she got her residency card, you should have known that she was going to vamoose on you. From Colombia too. In that shitty ass country, ain't no damn way. I'd have married her anyway. Ain't no way. Okay, this is our last letter for the night. My husband helped me clean and I cried. Not because of what he did, but what I realized. We've been married for 7 years. Not perfect, but not bad either. We have 2 kids, 2 jobs, 2 cars, often 2 different worlds. Latoya, about the booty beating though, I'm like, honey, sugar pie, you put your paws on me. For real, I'm going to prison. He not beating my booty, shaking my head quickly. You'll see it's a thin line between. Oh no. Latoya, what you talking about, girl? Okay. Last week, I came home from work absolutely exhausted. The kids were fighting. Kitchen was a mess. No dishes done. No laundry done. I sighed real heavy. And like clockwork, he looked up from his phone and asked me, was everything okay? I wanted to lose my mind. I wanted to snap, but I didn't. I just said, it's a lot. To my surprise, my spouse got up without another word, and he started washing the dishes, not slamming them around, not asking me where the soap is, not asking me for help. He did all the laundry. He bathed the kids, and I went and I bathed the kids. We barely spoke, but the silence was peaceful. Later that night, I found myself crying in the kitchen by the half-loaded dishwasher. Not because he helped me, but because I realized how low the bar had fallen in our marriage when basic partnership feels like a miracle. I don't blame him entirely. We both fell into this routine. We became default parents, cleaners, default everything. And he became the background character in the house, working hard but being disconnected. That night started a conversation between me and my husband. This is real important. A real conversation between he and I about partnership, about him taking some of the mental load, and how we both need to show up, not just for help. We are not magically fixed, but something shifted in our relationship that night. Here's the thing. When I walk in the door, and this is what a partner is supposed to do. When you walk in the door and your partner has 20%, you have to have the 80%. And if you don't have the 80%, then you all need to decide how you're going to proceed and treat each other. Okay? You have to decide, because I understand you coming in the door with 20%. I got 50. So we need to figure out what that other 30 is going to do. Okay? The other 30 is going to do. Because you don't want to divorce Black America. We don't want a divorce. I need a real partnership. We need a real part. She walked into the door and the house was fucked up. Dishes need to be washed. Clothes needed to be washed. Kids needed a bath. Dinner need all that. And he's sitting down. He says, "Are you okay?" She said, "It's just too much." He immediately gets up and starts doing all the things around the house that need to be done. Okay. So before I walk into the door, before your spouse walks into the door, you need to look around your home, regardless of how tired you are. You need to look around your home. If you have children, even if you don't have children, you need to look around your home and decide, okay, how to get this started, how to get the house clean, how to do what you need to do. Okay. I mean, it's a good thing that I normally clean before I leave. I normally clean as I go. I'm one of those people that clean as I go. If I cook something, I'm cooking it. If I'm cooking a dinner plate for me, I'm cooking and cleaning, and the pan and everything is done. By the time I get done, got my plate fixed to eat, the cooking, the cleaning, everything is clean. I'm one of those people that clean as I go. I hate mess, clutter. Okay. So I'm already doing that before I leave the house. But when I walk into the door, I still do it, because I don't like another person coming in and looking at the house like trash. There's no excuse for that. No excuse for that, right? And if you live with people, have a work schedule. If you have teenage kids, have a house schedule. Johnny washes clothes. Michael washes dishes. Jenny cleans the bathroom 2 times a week. It's your turn to clean the bathroom twice a week. It's your turn to wash clothes this week. It's your turn to make sure the dishes are done all week. If you got kids that are over the age of 12, you all shouldn't be washing no clothes, mopping no floor, cleaning no dishes, clean no bathroom. You shouldn't. If your kids are over the age of 12, you and mommy and daddy shouldn't be doing none of that, because that's training. As an adult, that's training that you need, and you need to rotate the jobs in that house. Mom and dad work, we bring home the money. We ain't coming home to clean when we got all y'all. Okay. And if your children are under the age of 12, then daddy has to help work just like mommy. I don't give a damn if daddy got 12, works 10 hours a day. Daddy still got to come home and do something. Okay. And the first person that's home is the first person that makes sure the kids have their homework done. And the minute if you have teenage kids, you and your husband got to buy a car for that teenage, the oldest child, because the oldest child is going to have to cart the rest of those kids wherever they need to go. That's how my parents did it. My brother had to take us wherever we had to go, because my parents had to work, do whatever, right? So I'm saying, regardless, you have to have a partner. You can't just work 2 hours. You can't just work 10 hours and then come home and not do anything. How long has he known it? What do you mean? She worked. How long has he known this about her? Did it just start? Because if he's known this from the beginning, then what do you mean? What story are y'all talking about? Hold on. I was talking about when HQ said a woman might think love is good. Hey, there are some human beings. Oh, clean as you go. Oh, the easy. Yeah, clean as you go is the easy way. I gotta clean as I go. I can't do that craziness with the dishes in the sink. I just can't do it. My mother trained me to mop the floor, clean the dishes in the sink. No excuse before you go to bed, because it only take 5 minutes. I'm mopping the floor and I'm cleaning while I'm cooking. I'm cooking me dinner or whatever. I'm mopping the floor while I'm doing that. Let me run some dishwater and let me cook my food while I'm running the dishwasher. I run the dishwasher, cook the food, go over there, flip something, go over there, mopping the corner, drying the corner. I'm cleaning as I go, because I want to be efficient when I get that done. Yes, there are people on this planet who think getting their ass whooped is love. There's some people on the planet who think that. Okay. And those are dysfunctional people. I'm not talking about dysfunctional people. I'm talking about people, normal, everyday people. When they you have touch, physical touch, acts of service, all of those kind of things. You got to figure out what that person enjoys, or what makes that person smile, what makes that person feel loved. That's the word, that's the phrasing. What makes that person feel loved? And you might have some other way. The way you feel loved is different. You have to express that to the person, and they have to express theirs to you, and you have to work within theirs. I ain't finna do that for her. I ain't finna do all that. Well, then you better do it if you want to have a marriage. Okay. My mother used to, if I was hungry, my mother used to put some peanut butter on a piece of bread and give me, and fold it in half, and then we'd eat a piece of bread with some peanut butter on it. You sleepy? Oh, okay. You hungry? Okay, eat this right here. And that's it. Or she'd give us a couple crackers, 3-4 crackers. Eat those real slow. Okay. Eat those real slow. So, I mean, these are just things that I learned, that I figured out as I was going along being married. Like, there's time. Of course, I have thoughts. You have thoughts of leaving. You have thoughts of that. Well, maybe I don't need to be married to this person. Maybe I have a different thing, or maybe it's be happy or whatever. Many a day. Oh, okay, we don't get to go on trips all the time. We ain't rich. We don't get to all of that. And we figured out that that's not how life works. Okay. And then you learn to carve what you want to do within that marriage. You carve how you want to. Sardines and crackers. or peanut butter and jelly. Warmed up peanut butter and jelly. Put some butter in the pan. Make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Put it in there. Smash it. Turn it over. Brown it on that side. Turn it over. Brown it on that side. Cut it in half. Woo! Man. I can't eat those very often. I can only eat those like once a year because I blow up like a fucking balloon. But I love them. I love them because when I was pregnant, That's all I craved was peanut butter and jelly smashed sandwiches. And Fee would just make the motherfucker. He wouldn't even ask me. I said, that's what I crave. He wouldn't even ask me. The minute I wanted something to eat, or 2 hours went by, he be in there making smashed peanut and jelly sandwich for me, and he cut it up in 4 squares, and he just would do it because he knew when I was hungry and I was pregnant, he knew that's what I wanted to eat: peanut butter and jelly smashed sandwiches. Didn't want nothing else but milk, peanut butter smashed sandwiches, and that's my favorite. But I know I can't eat it. I blow the hell up if I eat bread like that. So, but it's a good go-to. It's a good go-to. If you're on a rainy day and you want to be inside, it's beautiful. So my thing is, this person came home, and then they had to have a conversation, because you got to have that conversation. You got to have that conversation. This is what I need from you. I need you to do X, Y, and Z. I cannot come home and the house is fucked up. Dishes need to be done. Dinner need to be cooked. Kids ain't took no bath. And I get it. But at least do something. If you help me halfway. Clean the dishes. If you clean the dishes, we can work. But if you got the dishes need to be done, the kids running all over the place. I never did understand how kids run all over the place when they got a bedroom. Kids run all over the place. No, because I train my children. Train the children to play in your room. Don't come out here. This is joint area. Okay? It's a training. It's a matter of training. Eat at the table. Don't eat in your room. We can't do all of that. So it's a matter of talking to your spouse and saying, this is the needs that I need from you. This is what I need from you. I need you to do X, Y, and Z. And I get it. 70 to 80% of the women leave their husbands. But I guarantee you, it's something that he was not doing. And it was maybe no fault of his. Maybe it was no fault of his. Something that he was not doing, that she didn't communicate. And sometimes this is her fault. Her fault for her leaving, because she didn't know how to express what she needed from the man. And a lot of people don't know how to express what they need from their spouse, because they're not fully functioning human beings, whole human beings. This is what we want to be married. We want whole human beings married. Have you all been into a relationship where you didn't realize you liked certain things? You were married, but you didn't realize that you liked certain things until after you got married, and you didn't really know how to say that you liked it, or blah, blah, blah. Sometimes we get into those situations where we don't know how to express a desire that may have come along within the marriage. And, maybe the spouse won't like it. Maybe they will like it. We don't know. And then that builds that resentment, or that cavity, or that crevice comes in. I'm not Black America. How am I blaming men? I'm not blaming men for anything. I'm telling you, it's both of you all's fault. Don't be such a dim bulb when it comes to being in a relationship. Men don't need the emotional bandwidth. Men don't feel as though they need to express the emotional bandwidth that a woman needs. A woman needs the emotional interaction from men. And if you refuse to give it to her, it's going to be more relationships that don't work. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just unwilling to indulge in the emotional bandwidth or the emotional banter that she needs. Has nothing to do with you. If you're willing to indulge in the emotional connection that she needs, you might be successful. But if you're one of those men who say, I ain't finna deal with her bullshit, I'm not finna. If you're one of those men, then keep getting the results that you want to get. I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with it. Men say they're not emotional like that. That's fine. But women are. So if you want to be pussy adjacent, you have to do what the pussy wants to be adjacent to the pussy sometimes. I'm just saying sometimes. She's not going to go sit in the corner and say, I don't want to talk to you. He don't want to talk to me, so I ain't going to say nothing to him. A woman never does that. And you know that. You know that she doesn't do that. She's just going to retreat. She's just going to say, I'm not going to indulge. And then I'm just going to do what I want to do until I don't feel like doing anything with you anymore. That's the way she's going to come across. Okay. That's all I'm saying. I ain't saying nothing else. I ain't saying nothing else. I'm just saying. No. Your results are not normal. Don't go there with me. Your results are not a normal man. A normal man, regular ordinary men who want to have a partnership with their wife. There's some women that like that, Black America. Some women that like your style. Some women do. Some of us don't. But I bet you the bulk of us are in partnership where both parties take into account. Adopted. Sir, roast a lot, you wild. Marriage and dating in modern times is survival of the fittest. Adopted. We all have to adapt. We all have to. Depending on, and this is at the beginning, we're going around to the beginning where I started this conversation. 80% of success in marriage is getting the right partner. Finding the right partner. Okay. Women need partners. Women want partners. Okay. This is what we're finding out now. Women would love partners. Men seem to think they want to lead. They want to do all that. No, you don't. You want a partner, just like we want partners. Okay. You want most of all of the burden to be there, not equally, but you want some of the weight taken off from me. Because if I said I wanted to stay at home and not do jack shit except wash dishes, watch TV, clean the house, and give you got, you'd have a problem with that. You'd call me a lazy bitch. So you want a partner to a certain extent. There's a certain lifestyle people are used to. There's a certain lifestyle that people are used to having. So you have to afford the lifestyle that you're used to. You have to afford the lifestyle that you want. 80% of successful marriages, you picking the right person. And that person has to have similar ideas. Excuse me. Similar ideas, values that you have. Similar ideas and values. Okay. And or they have to be what is it called? Or or the woman or man is going to be open to the idea. Okay. Open to the idea. Okay. Of adapting. Okay. That's what a marriage is. A marriage is adaptability. There's no way that I would be happy in a marriage where I walked into the marriage and you told me you do this, and this, otherwise I ain't staying. You might as well tell me that at the door, because I ain't staying. I'm not staying. Specifically if they're hard pills to swallow. Now, if you said, HQ, I require you to stay at home, cook, just have babies, clean, blah, 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 I'd be like, nope, next. Because that's not what I want to do. I want to be able to contribute to this world, to this society, to these things. So I know I would never be happy to sit at home and not do anything. Only time I sat at home when I was married was when I was pregnant, and Fee said, we want to have healthy children. Stay at home while you're pregnant, have the baby, then you can go back to work after that. I don't give a shit what you do. You just be at home when you're pregnant, or be off your feet when you're pregnant. That was his only requirement. Be off your feet when you're pregnant because we want to have healthy babies. That's it. You never put any kind of strengths or restraints on me in any way. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do this. Can't. I never had them say that to me at all. Okay. So I'm saying, depends on the person that you want. Don't make me. I can't. Don't make me say that. Hey, some dude told me the other day, tiger stripes, stretch marks. He don't give a damn. That's what he told me. It is what it is. And it's wild. He said tiger stripes, stretch mark. He don't give a damn. As long as he getting some. So I'm saying, be careful. If you want to get into marriage, you want to get into that kind of situation, be situationally aware that men and women have changed. They just change. People change for the times, for the better, sometime good, sometime bad. If you listen to me at the beginning, what did I say? I said in 1960s, marriage was the goal. That was the expected life goal. And a woman was tied depending on her husband. 1990s, marriage was still important, but women had more freedom, and we both worked and made money outside of the home. So it was more of a partner. It was more of a what the hell? It was going into being a partner. Okay. These days, marriage is a choice, not a necessity. And women prioritize building themselves up, compatibility in the relationship, mental health over just being someone's wife. So the priorities for marriage or the priorities for being in a relationship have changed. That's why I say if you want a woman, you have to, these days, and you want to be married, you got to convince her that marriage is the thing for her. You would be a healthy partner for her, because a lot of women feel like they don't need to get married. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you not wanting, and men too. There's nothing wrong with men not wanting to be married, just like there's nothing wrong with women not wanting to be married. Of course, you want to be married, you want to do all these things, but it's not a necessity these days. At least this is the way women look at it. And a lot of men look at it too. I don't need to marry. I can get snatched without being married. I don't need to be married. And there's a lot of men that are not married. So you have to do some convincing. You got to decide that you want to do that. 80% of the success is picking the right partner, picking the right person with the same morals and values that you exude and want, learning their love language. Love me the way I want to be loved. Love me the way I understand love to be, not how you understand love to be. You have to love me the way I understand love to be. Okay. Oh, you mean men are being homeless? Women are not being homeless like that. There's a big population of men being homeless, not women. Because women have the children, and she can always live with her children. The men are the ones that are being homeless. I'm not saying that they're homeless. I'm saying the biggest population is homeless men. And those offing themselves are men, biggest population. So it's got to be something to that. Men do not need to convince. Oh yeah, it's a woman's choice to get married. She don't have to get married. She can have children. She can have sex. She can have a boyfriend. She can have all that without marrying a woman. She can have all that without marrying men. So it's up to men to decide whether they want to get married or not. They're the ones who decide. Women, I don't have to marry you. It could be a beautiful world out here. I want to get married, but I ain't got to get married. I do what the fuck I want to do. Yeah. It's an old concept. It's financial. You have to convince women to get into a marriage, and it's going to be a decent marriage. You can't just get into a marriage thinking she wants married. Women ask to be married. They would like to be married, but they ain't going to die if they don't get married. Okay. I get it. I get that. I get that that's the way it is, but it is the way that it is. So I'm saying either you're gonna stand in your corner and not and say she got to come to me, or you're gonna wade into the water and figure out what fish is good for you. Because men are the hunters. Women are not the hunters. You need to hunt for the fish that you want and find the fish that you want. Not thinking you can't stand on the banks. You can't stand on the shore and say, oh, okay, she got to come over here and do what I say. No, you need to go into the water and find the fish that you want. Why is that a bad message? When marriage doesn't benefit women, marriage benefits men. What do you mean? I'm just telling you how it is. Every woman that you talk to, go talk to them. You can't be listening to the men. You need to listen to the women. The women say they would love to be married, but they ain't got to be married. I'm not saying I'm not saying I believe in that message. I'm saying this is the way it is. She don't have to be married. She can have children. She can have children, have a boyfriend, do all these things without getting married. Okay. And it just is what it is. And it's a bad position. Yes, it's definitely a bad position. I'm not into when people doing things that they don't want to do. If she wants to get married, let her get married. She don't want to get married, she don't have to get married. He don't have to get married. He can do what he want to do. People can have children and not get married on this planet. But if you're going to get married on this planet, then you need to do the work to be a partner or companion. You can't just stand there and think, I'm 666 and she gonna do what I want. 666 men get left all the time. All the time. Women who think they hot shit get married, get left all the time because you haven't figured out what they want to do. Yes, that's selfish as hell, but that's the way, this is the world we live in. Men are selfish too. Women are selfish too. Everybody is selfish. Do you want to be selfish alone, or do you want to be selfish together? Do you want to be together and do what you got to do? Okay. I don't know how to get past these people. I don't know how to get past how people think of marriage. It's unnecessary to the younger generation. It's unnecessary. They feel like it. How do you explain that? How do you make that go away? You don't. What you do is you make the marriage seem good enough, pleasant enough, where they decide that they still want to get married. And you can't say you got to get married, because women are not listening to that message. And men are not listening to that marriage either. You ain't marrying your women. So you ain't marrying women. They ain't marrying women in mass. They're just not. And women are not marrying men in mass. You got to make people want to get married. I'm saying marriage is a beautiful thing if you have two people who want to be partners to each other. Two people who want to please another person. Two people who want to learn the love language of each of their partners. Marriage can be a beautiful thing. Okay. No, I'm not missing anything. I'm not missing anything. You all are coming from the male point of view. I'm coming from the female point of view. I'm coming from the female point of view. You know, marriage is for, just right, marriage is for people who want it. These days, these people say they don't need to get married. So there's no point in you, hey, marriage is great. Only thing I can do is put a testimony in front of these people. That's the only thing I can do is put a testimony in front of you and say, I had the beautiful experience. Marriage can be beautiful. Marriage can be shitty, but I can be, and I can only tell you how I did that. Okay. Man, what you want to do? Come up here and come up here and cuss me out or something? Come on. I burnt the link down. Okay. I can only live through testimony. You know, and I took from other people. You know, my parents. My father used to be the funniest shit. He used to be the funniest fucker ever. He used to insult my mother all the time, but he was funny with it. He was so funny with it. And my mother used to be like, Eddie C. Eddie C. That was my dad's name. Eddie C. Scar or Eddie C. Eddie C. Why you telling them kids stuff about me? Don't be doing that. And we just be laughing. Daddy, Mom, Daddy talking about you. Yeah, Aaron. Hey.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I was just conversing about people learning each other's love language, and 80% of the choice, 80% of a successful marriage is choosing the right human being.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Converse. What did you want to converse about?
Well, to answer your initial question, did I want to come up here and curse at you or cuss you out? No, never. I would. But I just it. So I agree that if you don't want to get married, you don't have to, nor should you.
Right.
But I do think it's woefully selfish. I mean, destructively selfish,
Mm-hmm.
and simply incorrect to think that it is ideal to have children and deliberately decide to not get married,
Right.
right? Because what happens there is now the child's upbringing is affected. It fundamentally opposes, huh?
I said, oh yeah, I agree. I agree to that. But I'm thinking in terms of the young people today. The young people
Right.
today. If you're gonna have, if you were here earlier, I was saying to people, you should not have a child unless you're like 2 or 3 years into a relationship, and you should not have children unless you have enough money and you have a partner in order to do that. I said that in the
Yeah,
middle somewhere.
yeah, yeah, right. Agreed, right? And the institution of marriage itself isn't. I mean, it's necessary, but it doesn't have to be adhered to the letter. But whatever happens, you should be as close to mirroring or emulating marriage as
Mm-hmm.
possible. I mean, so much to the degree where you might as well get married, even to the tune of getting a marriage license, because that will benefit the child in many ways.
Right.
Sharing last names
Mm-hmm.
will change the perception of the world has on the child, and doors will open when
Mm-hmm.
both parents are at PTA meetings and the child's last name matches both mommy and daddy's, right?
I
Teachers
love
and
it.
guidance counselors are going to treat this child differently.
Mm-hmm.
Assumptions are going to be made differently. They're going to favor the child. Judgment
Mm-hmm.
when the child is done wrong,
Right.
right? These things are going to be adjudicated in a way that benefits the child.
Right.
Also, economically, it just makes sense to be married as far as the wealth building and generational resource accumulation process.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many clear-cut advantages,
Right.
scientifically, religiously, socially, economically, across the board. Where if
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have children, if you're not going to be married, you should be so close to having a married lifestyle that it
Right.
just makes no sense not to get married. You may as well.
Right.
It's
And
just irresponsible to think. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
right. You're right. No, I agree with all of that. I agree completely, 100%. If you're going to have children, you want to have someone there to help you raise those children. Everything should be in order and lined up. We're married, same last name, same house. There's no kind of ambiguity as to whose child it
Right.
belongs to, where
Right.
this child belongs, who is going to care for this child, and you act accordingly. Absolutely. But these days you run into people, and if you don't want to get married, we're not going to fight you on getting married. But if you're going to indulge in a relationship, have it mirror marriage as close as possible, specifically for the benefit of those children. If you're going to
Correct.
have children, right? And like
Right.
I told the people, I did not want to be on this planet and have 4 girls and not have a protection of a husband, right?
Yeah.
Because when we were poor, when we were poor and we were early married, and I had 2 children prior for getting married, but then I had the next 2 set of children. I was lucky, and those were girls. I was lucky enough where we had to live in a rough neighborhood, but nobody was going to break into the house when they got a gander of my husband, when they got a
Right.
gander of how big he was, right? Shoulder wise. So I was
Right.
very thankful, and I let him know that I appreciate you being, I appreciate, yes, you do have to be here. I'm not going to say you don't have to be here. I am never going to tell a man that you don't have to be here in this house, because you belong in this house and this is where you need to be. So I always made sure that I let him know I am thankful for you to be here, because these people could come up in this house and do any number of things.
Right.
We were not in the best. We weren't in the worst, but we weren't in the best. We lived in bullet country. Now,
That's
bullet
okay.
country, it was called bullet country where I was from. And we lived
That's
in
all
bullet.
right.
But my husband
You
didn't
just
have a problem.
you just got to have a plan for the unsavories.
Right,
Exactly. Yep.
right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Right. And so my husband had a plan. He had a plan.
He was the plan. Right.
Right.
Exactly.
So
It worked.
I encourage it, and I get it. When people say, okay, we don't need, and I say to young people, because they say, well, we don't need to be married. Of course, you don't need to be married, but we want to have the marriage on the table. We want to have the marriage there for the children. We want to have the marriage for you to have a partner. Please don't have children until 2 or 3 years in. That way, your relationship has been solidified somewhat, you and his. Then you have a plan to have children, and it's an economic decision. And I said this in the middle of the lecture earlier tonight. If you have a lot of children, you're probably going to be poor.
Yeah, a lot of children. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
So if you have,
Yeah.
I told my kids, you have 2 or 3 at the most, 2 or 3. Because if you have more than that,
Yeah.
you're going to be poor, right? So it is what it is. I'm giving the lecture, and I get it. People say, well, get married and benefit. Marriage benefits both parties, maybe to a lesser extent men, maybe to a lesser extent women, but marriage benefits both partners. But you're doing this because you want to be married, you want to build a life together, you want to raise children, you want to do all of these things besides just you being in a marriage. What's the other 20%? The other 20% is trash. What do you mean? The other percent, and here's the damn thing. He said, what's the other 20%? I said 80% of having a successful marriage is picking the right person. That other 20%.
I dropped out. I dropped out. I didn't hear. I'm driving to New York City.
Oh.
I didn't hear anything.
Oh, well, you can drop out if you want to, because I was just about to end the show.
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. All right. No, I'm saying I did. The signal cut. I didn't hear you. That's all.
Okay. No, I was saying he asked what about the other 20%? If 80% of a successful marriage, that's how you get you have to have 80% is picking the right person. The other 20% is the nuance in relationships, is the back and forth negotiation.
Yes, I would agree. 80%, yeah. Get the right pair of individuals, and then 20% is the execution between them.
Right.
But that'll already be taken care of
Right.
if you spend 80% of consideration for the marriage getting the right people.
Right. Moral
The rest
value,
is on or off with, or not.
moral values, what you want to do
Right,
in life, where you want to go, how many kids you want, how do you
right.
want to raise them. All of these things all of these things should be discussed and known once you put your hat in the ring to be married. That's
Yep.
that's how you make that 80% work together. Because if
Perfect.
if I don't have no kids, but you want to have a house full, and I don't know that until after we married, we got a problem, right? So
Yeah.
figure out all of these things ahead of time prior to. And you say, oh, okay, I can, yeah, okay. You like you like that kind of sense of humor. You like to do X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay, well, we know all of these things. 80% needs to be known up front so we can figure out what we're gonna do with that 20%, because the 20% gonna be rocky. Okay. The 20% gonna be that rocky road. Okay. 20% is gonna be those negotiables. They're gonna look like non-negotiables. And we're gonna need that 80% to weather that storm. Okay. So it is what it is. And you know, I recommend marriage. I do. I mean, I would love to see. There's nothing I'm happier with when I see a black family walk into the. I was at the bank the other day and I saw this family, this man, this woman, and this kid walk in, and he pulled the door back and he let the wife and the child walk in, and I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to see. Exactly what I want to see, right?
Yeah.
You know, the respect in the relationship, and she didn't do it. She just walked on in with her dress. Kid walked first. You know, and they came out the same way, right? So I want to see us all do good. I want to see everybody do good. But you know, we have dysfunctional people on the planet, and it is what it is. But my lesson for tonight is learn the love language of your person, how they need to be loved. Figure out how they need to be loved, and you show them love in that particular way. Otherwise, it's not going to feel like love. To them, it's not going to feel like love. You think it's love because that's the way you express it, but that's not the way I receive it.
Uh, May I ask a question?
Yeah.
Well, are you trying to get out of here? Because I know you get hungry, and I mean,
Oh yeah, ask me the question. Go ahead.
okay. Yeah, I'm just driving. So, okay. So the question is, first, I agree, right, with love language,
Mm,
but communicating that. I mean, I believe that it's incumbent upon the person to make sure that their love language is expressed,
mm-hmm,
and it's their duty to express it.
mm-hmm.
How do you suppose a couple does that? You know, from the man's perspective and the woman's perspective. How do you
Okay,
suppose
well, I can only give you an example. I gave it earlier, but I'll give it again.
that's perfect?
My language, or my how I feel a person, how I feel when I recognize love for me, when I recognize that a person loves me, or I feel as though they care about me when they do that, is acts of service.
Act of service, yep.
So when my husband used to get up, and you know, he used to get throughout his day, he would make sure the garbage was out. He'd make sure all the windows was locked. I had a thing about, I would go around the house and check the locks, but they would be locked already because he would already
Right.
do that, right?
Yeah.
So lock the locks, do this, take the garbage out, oil change the car, change the tire, whatever. Put this out, make sure that this was here, or make sure that was there. To me, it said to me, he cares about how I feel about things. So therefore, the love was just enhanced when he would do those things for me.
Uh-huh.
His language was touch, and I'm not a touchy-feely
So,
person like that. But and he's affirmation. So I made sure that I would tell him I appreciate. Remember when I said I wasn't going to stay in the house with 4 girls? I would tell
yeah,
him, I appreciate you being here. These are the things I would say. I appreciate We would not be functioning unless you was here. I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate you being here. These are things that he appreciated. These were his language. And I had to learn that early, that he wasn't one, and he was a touchy person. So I had to learn to do that. But the affirmation, the respect that I had to give him, early, and tell him I appreciate it. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Thank you. Because early on, he used to buy flowers. He used to buy me chalk. He used to buy stuff like that. And I'd be like, don't do that, because I don't want that. I don't like you to buy me stuff. Take it back. Don't do that.
Right.
And then he learned early, no, she don't like that. So how do I figure out how she like? What do you think? What do you want? And he would ask me, and I would tell him. You don't have to tell me anything. You only have to tell me you love me one time. And then everything else that you do behind that, I will know. Everything else you do behind that, I will know. And he just picked it up. He just figured out she wants me to do things for her that are done, that are off her plate, that she don't have to think about, that she doesn't have to worry about. And he executed it
so
flawlessly.
Right. So first, thanks for the answer. I agree, and it makes perfect sense. And I'm still manning your point in saying this, and I just want to make sure people understand.
Okay.
You ask, you have to be straightforward with asking what the other person's love language is. Be willing to be straightforward to inform the other person what your love language is. Yes,
Right.
but the important thing that you said is leverage your understanding of the other person's love language to show them yours.
Right.
So what you said was you use affirmation, which is his love language, to show him how to adhere to yours. You reward him when he does something to fit the criteria of your love language by offering him his love language.
Right.
You're leveraging his love language as a reward to indicate to him where yours is and isn't. And
Right.
I think that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, a self-feeding cycle. It will only continue to make sure that the relationship grows and flourishes.
Right.
If you get into that kind of cycle, it cannot stagnate. It is impossible. Because as you grow and change as a person, you will, but you're staying ahead of the leading edge of those changes in real time by constantly, and it becomes natural because you're just doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Once you set it off, it's so that's the point in asking the question, and I appreciate the answer.
And I'm one of those people that I feel I'm empathetic, or I'm empathetic to people. I kind of, I can tell when a person is something is weighing on them, and I'm always the type of person that I want to find out how can I help you in any way. And because I was that type person, but he wasn't. But he was too. It was hidden. His empathetic, it was hidden until he felt comfortable enough to do it when we got married, because he was a really caring human being, right? He wasn't to the point of crying. No, he wasn't like that. But I could tell by the way that he did things that he cared about other people, which was part of what I needed, because I wasn't that overly expressive person, but he was he was the person that did things. He cooked for people, fed people, that kind of thing. He wasn't a rah person, but he was a person that fed people, made people feel good and comfortable when they were around him. He was that type person. So I'm saying, when you get married or you want to get married, you need to find out what your person, how your person receives things, how your person perceives things, right? Because I was saying to the lady in the audience, I was saying, some people think getting their ass beat is a form of love. Some people think that. It might be warped, but
It's
some people,
yes,
some people think that. You have to find out what their language, their love language is, how they receive it. Because you can show me, and if it's not the way I receive it, it's not going to work. And I said that I said, like Mr. Black or Black America, I said a lot of women leave, 70-80% maybe women leave. They leave because the man has not solidified how she feels love in that relationship, how she feels appreciated, wanted in that relationship. And then she leaves out of the blue. And he's like, I was doing everything. You were doing everything according to what you thought was supposed to be done, and maybe not what she thought needed to be done. So learn their language. Definitely a good. I don't know who. I got to go back and read that love language, people's love languages, because I never really read it. I've only heard about it, and I knew what mine was, but I never really looked and figured out what other people's language were. But I'm gonna go back and read that because I want to know.
I think it's limited. I've read things on love language, and mine is, I've never seen mine documented anywhere.
Oh,
So I do think it's limited.
do you have it? I mean, what's the name of it?
No. I'm saying I just read. There's literature material. There's all kinds of things out there on love language, and everything that I've read, none of it addresses my particular brand of love language. You know what I mean? So I just think it's limited. There are others out there that have never been studied or acknowledged.
Right, because I heard of a weird one a couple weeks ago. I heard of a weird one. I can't remember the name of it, but I was like, I never heard of that. I didn't know that was a part of. Okay, so it's got to be something that it's something that I never heard about. Okay, well then maybe there's something I have to study when we do these things. But
yeah,
I don't know. I don't pretend to know everything. I just know that there's ways to do things, and we cannot be toxic human beings and expect relationships to work. We have to be, we have to study. This stuff needs to be thought out and processed, and we can't be in extreme corners. Otherwise, it's never going to work if we're in extreme corners. That's it. But thank you for coming up, Aaron. Thank you for coming up. I gotta go eat. Y'all know I eat at 8:30.
Thanks for having me. I didn't want to interrupt. Yeah. Okay.
You had me a bologna sandwich. I don't feel like doing that, but have me a bologna sandwich. Going to sleep. Thank you.
Enjoy. Bon appetit. See you later.
Bye. Thank you all for coming in. Thank you all. You have Black America. You got some healing to do. You got some healing to do. Yes, he does. But he's still a functioning human being, which means you can be loved and your mind can be changed and can be thought processes can always improve. I appreciate you all. Please hit the like button in and out, all those good things, share, like all those good things. And I will see you guys tomorrow. I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you.